Well, listeners, as you know, we love to discover new music on this show, and recently I discovered a brand new band called Take It or Leave It, and this is an absolutely amazing band that I know that you're going to fall in love with, and we thought today to find out a little bit more about the band, we would actually get Mario and Craig from the band on the phone to chat a little bit about it. So welcome to the program, guys.
Thank you for having us, Dave.
No worries. Now, you guys are from New York, so tell us a little bit about the band. This is the first time that our listeners will be able to hear your music. So tell us a little bit about the band, how you guys got together, your style of music, and things like that.
Yeah, so simply put, we're just a punk rock band from the suburbs of New York, just about outside of New York City, maybe 45 minutes. Craig and I were introduced from a mutual friend who I used to work with, who ended up being our drummer in the early days. And we had such a blast in our early jamming that we were like, we're onto something. So we big committed, and now that was 2021, and we're hustling along ever since.
So Craig, tell us a little bit about that for you. What was that like the moment that you first met Mario, and what was it like for you when you first started jamming?
It was awesome. We started writing immediately. We came out with our song "Cracked Ribs" first. It was actually a spite song, a little bit, and we've been going ever since. Mario is the backbone, the leader of the band. I just write the lyrics and sing the songs. And
he's being very modest. He doesn't just do that.
Yeah, we practice at my house, so it's it's I just make sure everybody has beer and pizza and air conditioning. That's it.
So the third member of the band as well, who can't be with us today, is Devin. And Mario, I believe you guys actually played together previously before Take It or Leave It. Tell us a little bit about bringing Devin into the band.
Yeah, so Devin came in early. Like I said, we were introduced, me and Craig, through our old mutual friend who was our drummer to start. But that didn't work out. He had to leave for personal reasons. So we needed a drummer, and I knew the guy. I knew who we needed, and I had played with him probably about 15 years ago now. And he couldn't be a full-time member of my band at the time. He was in another band, but we just clicked. The chemistry was right there. So I just knew when we were looking for a drummer, he was the right guy. I needed somebody who was versatile in their parts, who can write their own stuff, but also kind of spin off of what was already written. And I felt like he was just like a perfect mesh in what we already had going and what we wanted for the future. So that was kind of, maybe mid-2022 when we brought Devin in. So it was pretty early in the process.
It was a perfect addition to what we needed. Bringing in the love and he's just a very good guy.
Yep.
Can't complain. We also have a new member.
Yes, so we are a 4-piece band. Our newest member joined us this summer, Nick. He is our lead / second guitarist, depending on how we look at our songs, in the future. But he came in a little bit unexpectedly because another member left for personal reasons, and he just hit the ground sprinting. He learned all the songs in 2 weeks, came right out the gate for a show, and then went away on vacation. So I know that it was stressful for him, but he was so excited for it, so we couldn't resist not having him,
So how have you guys found breaking into the New York scene as well? Have you found that to be something that's been relatively easy? Has it been difficult? How have you found that experience?
Right, I don't know if you want to take this one a little bit because you've been playing a little bit more in the scene recently.
Yeah, honestly, New York scene is kind of just cover bands. We do the suburbs. We're more based in New Jersey.
Yep.
Where it's more original music, and there's a lot of people out there. We make a lot of band friends. We're always playing. We're always getting asked to play, and we just do our best not to say no.
That's one of our rules is unless we actually can't do the show, it's never say no to a show, because you never know who you might meet, what kind of opportunity it is, and honestly, it's good practice. I think one of the most important things is actually getting out and doing it.
Yeah.
It's if you're playing in your basement all the time, you don't actually know how these songs perform because you're only playing to yourself. So it's really good to get that crowd interaction, even if it's not the best show in the world or super populated in the venue. Doesn't matter. I'll play to one person because if they're nodding their head, it was a success.
So tell us a little bit about Tunnel Vision, of course, the big release there, and that's what we're going to be playing some tracks off today on the show. Tell us a little bit about how that EP came together and what that EP means to you guys.
Yeah, so like Craig said, we started writing immediately, and we're an original band at heart, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're afraid of covers. So on the EP, we also put one cover song. We covered Hey Jealousy by the Gin Blossoms. We wanted to pick something that was kind of sort of near our genre, but just far enough away that we can like punkify it and really give it our own twist and our own sound. But the 5 original songs that are on there were all different feelings and different vibes that we had been kind of just going through the motions of figuring out what we want to be in the future. So there's kind of a little bit of divergence from each track as you kind of go through it. But for the most part, they were all written very early on in the process, but refined over time from playing shows. So a few tweaks since our initial debut of those songs versus the actual studio recordings.
So Craig, how did you find that recording experience? Did you find that all came together pretty well for you as well?
The recording itself was a little rough. Took us a long time. However, writing everything and getting everything finalized, it took us, I think, when it came down to it, we got the bare bones of everything in about 2 months. It was fast.
Yep.
It was, and I mean, of course, there's other influences to each song, you know?
So,
like,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was saying, like, if you listen to our song Run, it doesn't sound like it, but it's heavily influenced by Hungry Like the Wolf by Duran Duran.
Yep.
Trying to think, what else?
Well, I think our
Jen is like based on a like it would be like a No Effect song. It was like to me it would have, you know, we're influenced, and I think nothing is more important than giving credit where credit's due, and you know, just being bluntly honest about what influenced each thing. You know?
Yeah. So, where are you guys at now with new music? Have you been working on a lot of new music recently? And if so, can we expect another EP or an album in the not too distant future?
We're open for another release in ideally early 2026, but I don't want to get ahead of my skis just yet. We've written a new song already, and we've actually been performing it live. Similar to what I was saying with the early days of Tunnel Vision, we really like to beta test our songs in front of an audience. It really helps us figure out like what works, what doesn't work, where it goes in the set list, because that might help us figure out where it belongs on the album. So that song is called Therapy, and we actually have a version of it released on our YouTube from when we played Porch Fest in May. That was as a 3-piece band, so hopefully we'll have a new version soon with our 4th member, Nick. But for the time being, we were just kind of showcasing it and putting the feelers out there. But we have a few other songs that I would say we're writing at the moment. We're not quite in the ready to record stage, but you know, it's a process. So some days it feels like we write a whole new part, and some days it feels like, you know, we're pulling hairs trying to find the next new thing.
Having that 4th member come in, how does that change things for you guys? Does that mean that you can kind of work on more complex songs and things like that? What's the big change for you guys having that 4th member coming in?
So I knew Nick for a while. Actually, I met him right before this band formed. So he had kind of already been privy to our music from just me talking about it to him, and whether it's showing him examples of the demos early on or the final product, he's been kind of part of our process. He's been an ear for me to use to figure out what's good and what's bad. So walking into it, he was very familiar with the music, and it felt like he was already there during some of that process. So I feel like now we kind of don't need to figure out the foundational pieces of adding a new member. We already have that foundation, and now we're just building off of it. And it was very sudden, but it feels very natural. So I don't want to speak for the rest of the band, but I'm excited, and it feels like there's excitement in the air. So
definitely. So Craig,
I agree.
yeah, Craig, tell us a little bit about the future for you guys. as you said, you guys have been growing in popularity. You've been playing a lot of shows, and a lot of people out there have been hearing your music. Where to next for the band now?
Wow, that's a rough question. I mean, we're gonna probably try to play bigger shows. You know, I don't even know where to go. I would like to go on tours. Probably book a northeastern tour around the states. You know, if we could expand outward more than that, that's our dream. I'd love to see. I'd love to see the world from behind the bass. You know, I'd like to see. Go everywhere. You know.
Yeah.
I really like that quote, Craig. Like, you want to see the world from behind the bass. Like, it's being on stage is a very different experience every stage you go to. So I couldn't agree more. Like, I would love to be able to play every single stage there is in the world, and that's just not going to happen. So I'll just be realistic, and we'll start local. We'll slowly build our circle to a Northeast tour, maybe to a national tour, maybe to an international tour. Maybe that's not in 2026, but hey, man, we could dream.
Definitely. Yep. Murray, I wanted to go back to, I realized before I left a question out that I was going to ask. I read that when you were younger, video game soundtracks had a lot of influence on you as well. Is that something that you guys would like to do in the future? Like maybe work on a video game soundtrack or something like that? And what are your inspirations today? What kind of things do you find yourself writing about? Life in general, things that's going on around you? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're all gamers in some way, shape, or form. It's actually one of the ways that Devin and I got a lot closer. We worked at GameStop together for somewhere in the ballpark of 5 to 7 years. Math is hazy. But video games, though, were such a heavy influence on my life, and I know for the rest of the band because we talk about it all the time. Twisted Metal is like a great example of a game with an amazing soundtrack. Tony Hawk soundtrack. Like Goldfinger is how I found out about Superman. You know, like there's so many that I could list off and rattle off. But ideally, if we could work on a video game soundtrack, that would be just unbelievable. Like, so
I don't know if I'd be into like a fishing simulation game. Like, I don't think we'd fit.
You'd be surprised, man. I've heard some people, like, I used to have a summer house on the lake, and everybody plays every kind of music, so you never know. Like, we might not seem like the fishing type of vibe, but there's somebody out there who wants us. So.
Yeah, and it's funny because
the subject matter of the song that you were asking, like, we are Americans, but we're also very humble about being American, and we are not very happy in our climate right now, and so I'm trying my best. It's just that everything changes every day, you know what I mean? So in the news, in our political environment, it changes daily, and it's despicable, and that's it's just changing so much. By the time I write a lyric, it almost becomes irrelevant the next day or the next week. And it's like, oh, how do I make it, you know?
Yep.
It's just tough because I want to write more about, I would say more anti-political statements, you know, especially with what's going on in the world right now. And it's just hard because it's changing.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen next week, and it's a scary world we live in.
Yeah.
I want to read people who can relate, you know?
Yeah. It's such a weird time. I was talking about this to another musician the other day, and we were saying about, like, we're seeing what's happening in America at the moment, and we're feeling for you guys. And then here in Australia, we've got what most people would describe as a fairly decent Prime Minister. He's doing his best to try and make life good for Australians, but you've got people that are opposing him because he's not this and he's not that, and it's like it's such a weird time. I don't think we've ever seen a time like this before politically in Australia, especially compared to what you guys are going through. Does that make it tough as a musician as well of like wanting to be seen to almost take a side because the other side are so vocal when someone seems to do that?
I think at this point, the general population is smart enough to realize that we royally screwed up.
Yeah.
And I've never had a qualm. I I've never had a problem admitting I was wrong, or admitting, but there is a problem here where there's a sense of pride with some people that are so nationalistic, and it's scary that these people can't see the world from outside of their own shoes. Yeah. Like one of the biggest things I had with our current administration is the world looks at us. Like we were the center of the world. New York. We live in New York. People travel here.
This is the dream city.
Yeah. And it's a huge embarrassment for, looking from the outside in. If I looked out from Mexico or Canada at the U.S., I'd laugh. It's despicable, but it is what it is, and we're as a punk rocker by heart. This is why I exist. You know what I mean? Like, now is the time, but it's so overwhelming because there's so much happening. It's the time, and finding the words to put to that subject is the hardest thing.
Yeah.
I could write about love. I could write about love, or I could write about all different shallow stuff. I could write songs about tacos, but it's hard to write about our political environment.
Yeah.
Well, you want to write something with a meaning, and that's, I think, the crux here.
How much metaphor do you use? Versus the reality of it. Because if you're going to reality, 50 years down the line, somebody's gonna be like, I don't know what he's singing about. Yeah. I wasn't there.
Yeah. I think you nailed it there as well. You said that New York has always been a destination city. It's always been my dream to come to New York. And outside of this show, I work as a film journalist, and it's always been my dream to come to the New York Film Festival. I actually couldn't do that at the moment with your current administration because I also work for a newspaper in Thailand. So the moment that I write on my visa paperwork that I work for an Asian newspaper, I would be denied access to your country. It's such a weird time. There's only 2 countries in the world that I'd be denied access at the moment, and that's the USA and China.
Wow.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
Why are we living by the same standards as a country like China? It's weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
So guys, I
spinning it back. Oh, sorry, go.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't want to put it on down, but I was going to say you were talking about video games before, and it's really funny because a lot of Australian kids' introduction to punk music was from a game, and I don't know if you remember this game called Crazy Taxi.
Oh my God, Crazy Taxi, let's go!
But that was
Come on, you guys have Silverchair, man.
Yeah, but back in, Silverchair was kind of grunge. If you go back to when they first brought out Frog Stomp, they were kind of grunge. And here in Australia, you kind of grow up with, for my generation, we grew up listening to our dad's music. So I was lucky that my dad was into heavy metal and hard rock. But for a lot of my friends, it was Crazy Taxi came out and the Tony Hawk games, and they were like, what is this music? This music is cool. And then there was that kind of, people started to discover NoFX. They started to discover Millencolin, The Offspring.
And then the Distillers came out.
Yeah, yep.
It must be huge. I mean, even all right. So I have a 6-year-old, and we watch Bluey.
Yep.
And what's his name? The band that Bandit is in. What's that? It starts with C. He's got a band. He's Custard.
Yes.
They're great.
Yep.
Kind of punk.
Yeah.
It's cool. I think Australia. I mean, you got AC/DC, and that's before, that's pre-punk, if you ask me.
Yeah.
No.
So, guys, I guess to finish off, what would you like to say to our listeners out there before they sit down and listen to your music for the very first time on our show?
I think the main thing that I want you guys to take away as a listener is that we're here and we're going to keep doing it whether you like the music or not, because that's kind of our ethos of take it or leave it. We love doing this and we're passionate about it and we're having a great time doing it. And if it's not for you, that's okay. Maybe our next song will be, or maybe the song after that. But at the end of the day, we're having a blast up here, and we want you to have a blast with us. So come along for the ride.
Craig, do you have a message as well?
I don't. I really don't. I don't know what to say. I usually use Mario as the spokesman for the band.